So guys, we're going to take a minute and just talk about creating something we call generational wealth and what that kind of looks like a little bit. So hopefully you find this video helpful. If you do, take a minute and like it. Don't forget to take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make any comments below also. We'll do our best to answer those questions for you. So generational wealth, what the heck is that? It's something you can pass on from generation to generation, obviously down to your kids, family, etc., along the way. But what is it you're passing along? So in the real estate investment industry, specifically the single family residential investment industry, if you're in the wholesaling world, that's a job. Once you flip that contract, it's a one and done strategy. It's over. You put some cash in your pocket, I get it. That money is most likely going to be spent. If you're in the fix and flip industry, where you're buying a home to renovate it and sell it for cash, that too is a one and done strategy, because once the house is sold, sure, you're making money, hopefully doing well, but you get to start over again also. On the flip side, the way you create wealth and you generate assets is holding that asset and hopefully letting somebody else pay off your debt over time. And of course, you can do that through a rental format, or you can do that through an owner finance scenario. Now, we prefer to do the owner financing of transactions, because I believe when you compare the rental option versus the owner finance option of holding mortgages, there is a path of least resistance. And maybe you wind up having a blend of the two together, where you have a rental portfolio as well as a seller finance portfolio. But what the key goal to wealth generation is to hold assets, and it is to create what we call reoccurring positive cash flow. That's the key. A lot of people think the key is to have equity. Well, equity is awesome. That is something we aspire to. And if you've got enough equity, can you sell your asset to pull that equity out to create cash flow? Sure. But along the way, having the ability to have both equity generation and cash flow generation is the ultimate goal and the ultimate key to that wealth generation. So that every month that cash flow is coming in without any other debt associated with it, that just adds up. And if you can handle a situation, whether you're using bank financing to buy a house with and hold on to it and pay off that bank loan as quick as possible, maybe you're in the subject to creative finance type scenario, where you're buying a home subject to the existing debt. It may have zero equity, but it may have great cash flow. And all that helps to build and create that generational wealth. But at the end of the day, it's the ability to create that long-term positive cash flow that reoccurs month after month after month is what you want to create. Where maybe you're buying a home that has a 30-year mortgage on it, it has 15 or 20 years left, and you sell it to a back-end home buyer on a 30-year mortgage. So maybe you're able to not only create that cash flow for 10 or 15 years before your mortgage is paid off. That's very substantial. Your loan is paid off, and you double that cash flow you were collecting all of a sudden for an additional 15 years. And sometimes our buyers default, and then you resell the home for more money, and you start that 30-year term over again, so that your buyer's loan is paying down very slowly, but yours is paying down very quickly. And you wind up holding these mortgages and or the rental properties with this long-term reoccurring cash flow. That is truly our ultimate goal, so that you can take time off, go do the things that you enjoy doing. Sure, it's still a business, and you have to watch your cash flow. You don't let somebody else watch your cash flow unless it's someone that you've hired internally at your business. An external third party is not going to do as good as you are. Property managers are going to do a decent job at collecting rentals. Make sure your contract gives them an obligation to do that. But at the same token, you want to stay on top of them to ensure they're doing their job. If you're in the creative finance world and you have an owner finance mortgage, do you want to have a loan servicer collect your monthly income, or do you want to do it? Again, I'll tell you, you'll do better than they will at collecting that cash flow. Stay on top of it. Along the way, in the creative finance world, buying homes subject to the existing debt where maybe you're able to utilize a short-term, mid-term, long-term rental scenario, generate the income that generates this awesome positive cash flow while you're holding this asset with limited to no liability on that first lien mortgage is, again, one of the great reasons we buy homes subject to the existing debt. That also translates into that long-term generational wealth that we want to pass on down the line to our family, kids, churches, whatever it might be along the way. But the true mental mindset where we investors want to get to is the development of that. Of course, the problem with that is it is not an overnight deal. In the world out there today, everybody is selling the greed factor. They want to tell you can take this course, that course, and you're going to develop wealth just immediately. Well, the problem is wealth is not developed this way. As we know, it's developed over long time frames where you're paying off your debt, and you're generating this cash flow. And that is truly where you want to be in the real estate investment business. The problem with all of that is we still have to eat, we still have to pay our rent, we still have to pay for our cars and our gas and whatnot. So oftentimes you need a mechanism that will generate cash flow for you while you're working on that debt reduction to develop that long-term reoccurring cash flow. One thing I learned along the way was I did have my law practice generating some income for us, but we learned to, as we were buying houses, to warehouse our homes, we learned how to take our owner finance mortgages and sell them into the secondary marketplace and create large bundles of cash at one time. Well, you're able to take some of that cash to live on, but we took the rest and we reinvested it back into the real estate, which allowed us to pay our debt down much faster. That then allowed us to reach that goal of that reoccurring cash flow sooner. And so it was a 2 steps forward and 1 step back, 2 steps forward and 1 step back type philosophy. But each time I was gaining that one extra step on getting to that generational wealth position, what I've been able to get to today. So keep that in mind. We all have to find a way to generate income, whether it's through a job, through the wholesale or fix and flip business. But at the same time, you've got to start buying and holding these assets, paying off that debt, so you can create that equity. You can create that long-term reoccurring cash flow along the way. So guys, I hope you found this beneficial and helpful a little bit. If you did, take a minute and like the video. Don't forget to take a moment and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. If you got any comments, comment below. We'll do our best to get to those. We'll see you all next time.